Hey, I like the t-shirt.
Thank you. Is it mine or okay?
Yes, I like the t-shirt.
Just a blanket statement.
Right. I guess we should go around real quick. I don't know, those of you watching, if you know all of us or any of us, or how you found out about this, but welcome. We're honored to have you. My name is Ryan Rieger. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Haven't had a real job since 2008. Started selling furniture on Craigslist, moved to Amazon and eBay, teach people how to make money online. Started a virtual assistant service 3 years ago for my e-commerce sellers, but then just saw that, hey, you know what? I can use these same VAs and other VAs for helping pastors. And so we started a pastor virtual assistant service just a few months ago. And Peter, who is here, is a pastor in Florida. I'll let him introduce himself in a second. But so far it's going really well. And Stephen and I, who's there with the wingman hat, is helping me develop this program for pastors and really anybody that needs to get their time back, whether you're a business owner, you're a pastor, it doesn't really matter. I feel like there are things that a VA can help you with to allow you to focus on what God's called you to do, so that you're not bogged down in the minutia of what has to happen in your ministry, your business. So that's what we're attempting to build here. I'm excited about it. And I guess, Stephen, I'll let you go for next. And then Jazz, you can say something real quick too. Say, Jazz, she's our main lead VA for this pastor VA service currently. Does an awesome job. She lives in the Philippines. So Stephen, you want to say hello?
Sure, I'll go next. I just want to double down on Jazz. Jazz has been amazing. Any type of help that we can get, Jazz is always knocking out the park. I think most people that we talk to at Jazz is any kind of part of it. They really enjoy her. But my name is Stephen. I'm in the St. Pete, Florida area. I wish I could say the same thing as Ryan, as long as he's not have a job. I think probably mid-20s, so maybe 10, 15 years ago. I haven't been having a job either. I've been self-employed or having a business or investing. But I think what we're really here for is just we have a heart of helping. I've grown up in the church. I've always done things around the church. I think now that we're moving into a digital age, and especially after COVID, a lot more of my skills are coming into play into the church. I think I'm using the wrong terminology with, we can help you marketing, we can help you do all these things. Digital outreach is a word that we are now aware of. So we want to help you with digital outreach. We want to help you with anything that is taking up your time and now allowing you to be a pastor, which is serving the community. If you're getting bogged down with, I don't want to say nonsensical things, but things that are not your skill or gift, it's just, we really want to help pastors get their time back and focus on the body of Christ, which is the people in the church.
Absolutely. Jazz, you want to go next? Then we'll have Peter round it up.
Oh yeah. I'm Jazz. I'm from Manila, Philippines, and before I was a realtor. I also was a Procter & Gamble manager. And then 2019 I started working from home. I was my first client was Jenny Hunt. Then I was introduced to Ryan. And then I was introduced to the mastermind group. I'm managing their social media accounts, graphic creations, video editing, all about social media. So, and now I'm here in Wingman VAs, and I'm glad I meet these guys. And our first client is Peter. So I'm very glad that I meet Peter also.
And I'm the guinea pastor.
That's right.
My name is Peter Migner. I pastor in DeLand, Florida. I've been pastoring this church for 13 years, and I've been in pastoral ministries for 32 years. And I'll just give a little bit of my story, and then I'm going to throw it back at Ryan or Stephen. So part of my story is that I met Ryan in person, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And we've kind of stayed in touch since then through an Amazon conference, because I've been doing that as a supplemental income as a pastor selling on Amazon. That's how we became acquainted. And Ryan started a podcast a while back, and I was listening to Ryan and Stephen talk about entrepreneurs getting their time back and outsourcing tasks that they could do or didn't want to do but shouldn't do. to someone else. And that's when I thought, wow, maybe that could help me as a pastor, have somebody assist me, because in my local context, I have an aging congregation that doesn't have a lot of the current skills in the technology realm that I really need to have happen. And even though I could do a good percentage of it, I shouldn't be doing it. So that's what kind of led to this conversation and this relationship that's developing. And so Jazz was my first VA.
Peter's talk about what life was like before having a VA and what it is now, and how it's opening up your eyes to what's possible. I guess the goal of this, guys, was to literally, like he said, he's the guinea pastor, and that's true. And it was like, Stephen and I don't know everything a pastor does. We've been in the church most of our lives, so we kind of have an idea of maybe what some things a pastor are doing or need to do, or things that, you know, maybe they want to get off their plate, that I think a pastor of a smaller church that doesn't have 500 staff members to go to, what they might need. But that's why we needed Peter to say, okay, what really does a pastor with a smaller church need? And so we just decided to put together like, here, Peter, here's your pastor, here's your VA. We're learning from him as far as what are the tasks that, you know, he has on his plate. And we were pretty sure that those are gonna be a lot of the things that other pastors are gonna need as well. But I guess, Peter, why don't you tell us, what was it like before? What are some of the things that you were doing that you didn't want to do that now you either have outsourced, or you're starting to think, oh, I could outsource this and this and this?
Yeah. Okay. I guess when it really it started off with, you know, on my church board, some of my members were saying, Pastor, you're just doing too much. You need to delegate. You need to let go of a lot of stuff. And I would agree, but it was nobody in-house that really could do some of the things that really need to be done well, that would end up being the public face of a production of a piece of paper, you know. And even though I could do it or someone else could do it, it was just overwhelming. So we started off by just getting like a monthly newsletter. Since COVID came, we kind of killed the weekly bulletin, but we still needed to communicate things with graphics on Sunday on the website, a piece of paper that kind of give the overall schedule. I really don't want to do it. And so even though I can do it and I was doing it, I needed to stop. That was one thing. And then the social media component, there's no question our website was struggling to stay up to date. You know, even though I could get in there, it just does not need to be the discipline for me to be in there doing updates, even though they don't take a lot of time. It just really wasn't something I should be doing. Yeah. So a lot of the things really were technical oriented. Someone posted a comment earlier, what's the range of services? I think that's the part that appealed to me about your podcast originally, was that you were kind of saying, whatever you think you would like to get off your plate, let us know, and we're likely able to develop it or find a virtual assistant who can take it off your plate.
Yes.
And yeah, so that's still happening for me. So like you know, the first few things were social media. Now, Jazz, I've got a colleague of hers named Red, and another guy in Kenya who's helping me out, Wisdom. And the two of them and I are meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Awesome.
We moved into a staff meeting concept instead of just email, which is really kind of fun. So it's 3 o'clock, 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. And we have about a 30-minute chat about things. So I don't know how long we'll do that every week, but for right now, we're just trying to get into a rhythm so that we communicate things. And part of the reason that I wanted to move to that was twofold. One is I felt like just typing what I wanted to the virtual assistants, whether it was instant messenger or an email, was missing the element of emotion and connection that I felt like I needed. And Jazz started that with me because it was really nice to be able to see her. And I also felt like the virtual assistants, being much younger than I am, more savvy than I am, could potentially suggest something to me that would be better than what I was asking them to do in time saving. So that's a start, if we could, Brian.
Peter, you said something that was awesome, that when you saw how much how many hours it took Jazz to do your first invoice that we sent you, you're like, I think you said it was 15 hours for her, and you said that saved you 40 hours or more of work.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. I was like, because I told you, I said, I don't want to know how much things cost. I just want you to tell me every time I hit 10 hours.
Yeah.
So I figured, whenever I hit 10 hours, I can kind of look back and go, wow, that was quite a bit we got done, or not very much we got done in 10 hours.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it was like, when are they going to bill me? It's been like a month, and so anyway, it ended up being what I felt probably would have taken me. I mean, honestly, the newsletter thing that we do every month in our church literally takes me 3 or 4 hours, because I want to make sure everything looks right, and I'm pasting it around, and I'm doing edit. I'm trying to get somebody else to edit it, and on and on and on and on.
Right.
Now I just kind of write it up, send it. It comes back at me. I look at it. I edit it a little bit if I need to, or I say, I don't like the picture, and boom, it's done. I mean, it's it's really cool. Yeah.
Wow.
I think this is.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was going to say, I think this is something a lot of pastors are asking. It is, they want to get down to the meat of the thing. How much does it cost? What task are you doing?
Right.
I think we offer a bunch of different services, but as we're talking to more pastors, like, no, it's not a one size fits all solution. And I think what we're really trying to do is, what is it that you're struggling with? What is the thing that's taking up your time? We want to help you with it. But I think what Peter just said was an aha for me. It's taking Peter very many hours to do something that somebody else that is a professional at it takes them little to no time. Hearing that when we were having that call with Peter to go, oh, this is something that's taking me, say, 40 hours. It took them like half that time, or even a quarter of that time. It was like, here's where the big misunderstanding is. We want to help pastors get their time back. I think us being in business, we know this thing is taking me too long. I multiply this out by the month to the year. It's definitely cost effective for me to hire this out. I don't think that's how pastors think about it, but it is like, you're overwhelmed. You're doing things that are not your expertise. We want to help you continue to be in your zone of genius.
Yeah.
We want to take things that are not your specialty off your plate, because you're just spending too much time doing that task. So it's a custom fit that we're offering, but I think it's like Peter, it's going to be a developing custom fit to you, and you'll be, I think everybody will be surprised how many hours of work they can get out that gives them their time back to be able to free themselves up from the desk. Because that was something else that Peter said to us, was he's getting away from the desk. And I was like, this is what we're truly trying to do at the root, is we don't think you should be spending your time at the desk. This is not, I don't know, like Ryan was saying, we're not pastors, so I don't know really what the pastor is called to do, but I don't think it's just sitting at a desk doing tasks. That doesn't seem like the right thing for a pastor to be doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Every week there's like new things that are coming to me to roll off. So it wasn't like I could just come into this thing and say, okay, I need all this done, run with it. I've been doing it for so long that it has taken me literally months to keep going. Oh, this is going to need to be done. Oh, do I need to do this? No, let me roll this off, So it has taken me time. I mean, I wish I could say that it was an instant thing, but it wasn't,
Sure. Well, let's get to Gary's question though, and so the cost ranges. So Gary, right now we are at the $7 an hour mark, but there may be a point when with what Peter's doing that it may make sense to go to some like monthly package. But right now we're doing just an hourly rate. There's no setup fees. We wanted to make this as easy, as painless for a pastor to kind of dip their toe into this, because I know that you probably have a board that you have to talk to about this. We have a friend, Peter's friend named Chris, who's another pastor, said, I don't even care if my board says no, I'm going to pay for this out of my own pocket because I want to get this stuff off of my plate. But $7 an hour is where we're at currently with this, and the range of services. So here's some of the thing. It comes down to, if I had to put two buckets, things that you as a pastor are doing that you don't want to do anymore, you're not good at, it's just not in your skill set, you don't have staff for. And then the other bucket might be things that you wish could get done, but there's no time for you to do it. You don't have staff to do it. You don't have volunteers to do it. So those are the two main buckets. And so in the bucket number one are things like the newsletter, bulletins, reaching out to social media is a big one. Yes, taking your podcast, taking your sermons, potentially turning it into a podcast, taking your sermons, potentially clipping that up into smaller chunks for social media so the word gets out there. Things like just admin type of tasks. Peter, you were telling me that when there was a funeral, you were the one ordering flowers. When you need a sign out front of your church, you were the one researching a sign company and making, doing all that type of stuff. So data entry, any type of internet type of research, that's very easy for a VA to do. Slides for music.
Let me give you a couple examples that you just triggered. Like, we have a food ministry where people fill out a piece of paper, and we had stacks of them from over a year, about 500 of them. And I don't know if it was Jazz or she got it to somebody else, but all I did was scan them, which didn't take me but 15 minutes because we have a fast speed scanner. And then I sent the attachment to Jazz, and within a week came back an Excel spreadsheet with all the written data in all the lines. And now we're able to actually share that document with other volunteers in the church to start making phone calls and following up. So
beautiful.
Those are the kind of examples that are really sweet for me.
Yes. And your friend Chris, who's going to be signing up or already has signed up, they use a software called Planning Center. Yeah. He said that's very popular with churches. And so we're going to be helping him with taking the contact cards and getting that data inputted into Planning Center. Other things like Gary, you mentioned email, that we could totally build out an email sequence. Like if I visited your church, I'm automatically in a sequence for reaching out to me. I don't know if you meant email as far as like when a visitor comes to your church, inputting that email into your software. So that you can stay in touch with them.
That was a today task I'm working on, actually.
Okay.
So, you're making me think, Ryan, as other pastors come into this thing, I think it would be helpful if maybe we could even somehow share with one another, because we might help one another with the VA and create even more savings.
Totally. I think it just comes down to what you just said earlier, though, is this a task I should be doing? So as you're doing this, think out loud or in your head, whatever. Is this something that I as a pastor should be doing? Yes or no? If yes, do it. If no, then do it, but also put together a system or record yourself doing it that one time so that we can take it over from there, or simply say, I'm not going to do it anymore and just hand it over to us straight away. But don't just mindlessly do the things you've always been doing. Think about them. I'm about to do this task. Is this a task that I, as the pastor, should be doing? Or is this a task that I could pay somebody $7 an hour to do?
Right.
And that'll help you guys.
I had a conversation tonight with a few pastors, and their comment was how much. They always ask how much, and then they want to know. Then they want to know how much can they get done in time, because that's the way I think we think as American pastors or people. We think time blocks and costs. But I think the greatest thing I did that you let me do was it really is a trust factor here. This is not a business. Am I going to get ripped off? This is a relationship company as far as I look at it. And it's like, hey, let me know when I get to 10 or 20 hours or so many dollars, so I can evaluate, is this worth my continued investment of time to roll over to some. Personally, I didn't know how to gauge the time factor, because I don't know how long it's going to take somebody to do it better than I can do it, or someone else in our church that needs to not do it.
Yeah, I think
go ahead, Steve.
So I was going to say, I think this was a conversation we had with you also, was you were asking us tasking about hours, and it's a hard one for us to answer because we don't know truly what task you're doing. And
right.
I was just estimating, like, whatever hours it's taking you, roughly estimated it might take the VA to do the same. But the thing that was aha to me was, you are spending too much time doing a thing that takes somebody else like 5-10 minutes when it's taking you hours to do. Mm-hmm. I just assume from business, like, we get very efficient at the things and then we hand it off, and we built that efficient system. But from a pastor, you were talking about ordering the signs. It was so many different tasks that you were doing that it was just inefficient for you to do it. And that's why I was like, all
Right.
of that time should be handed to somebody else. So the time factor I think is very difficult to just estimate. It takes me this many hours. This is what it's going to cost. It might be a good way to start, but I think even for you, the aha moment came from like, oh, it's gone like a couple of weeks and it hasn't even hit the amount of time. How is it that I've gotten 40 hours back, but still don't owe 40 hours worth of payments? And I think it is a relationship based business. We don't know because you might come in for social media and like Peter be doing all kinds of different things. We do want to come alongside pastors and help you get your time back. Whatever the original thing is, it will evolve, it will change. Because even like Peter said, he's got a little bit of time now to think through how does it become better? How do I, instead of just being on the defense of like, I'm trying to keep my head above water, how do I now go on the attack of like, how do I make these things better? This was something that we talked to you too, Peter, about too, was just, we're trying to develop a process of getting pastors' times back, becoming more efficient, and then go to the third part, which is like the dream part, which is I think what me and Ryan truly want to help pastors with. But you can't really start there because we couldn't have been able to go, Peter, what is the dream of your church? Let's start there, where you're like, I'm barely having enough time to breathe. How can I even think about dreaming? So I think this strategy that we have is just like, let's help you get your time back, show you how to be more efficient, and then help you dream. But I think me and Ryan's heart is truly for helping pastors dream and grow, thrive more than just survive.
Yeah, I would agree. I woke up this morning because today is Monday, and there was a email in my inbox and today's my day off typically, so there's an email and it said, here's an excerpt quote from your sermon yesterday in a slide to post on social media. I was like, wow, so she just went out and found a picture of me and got a quote from my message yesterday, put it in a slide and posted it on social media. Right. And now we're talking about taking the sermon for this coming week is going to be a new one, is we typically broadcast on YouTube. So we're going to continue to do that, but then we're going to pull it down one of the VAs is going to pull it down, take out just the sermon, reschedule it to go up on Facebook as a live broadcast, even though it's pre-recorded, on the same evening, on the evening of the day. So that's a new experiment we're trying. So the dreams are starting to come into play. Yeah. We're also looking, Red was phenomenal. She gave me a 3-page, 2-phase process of getting where we're going with the social media to reach people in our community. Wow. So we're on phase 1 and a part of phase 2, and then part of that will be Google AdWords, that we've had a free account for 3 years and never used it because we had no one to run. Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome.
That was something else that I thought was very interesting was nonprofits get, is it credits? I'm assuming they're credits. And then we can help you use those credits as marketing.
Yeah, Google offers churches or nonprofit. I know it's churches for sure, but it's up to $120,000 a year in credit for Google AdWords. But you don't start off that high. You start off at maybe 500,000. Once you use it, you can keep increasing, but you can't exceed 10,000 a month. So in my metro area, I would never be able to justify $10,000 a month. Maybe 2,000 is probably what would be really nice, But it's nice to have a VA who can create those ads, help us launch them in conjunction with outreach and different things that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think that community aspect of that too is like if Peter's testing something, being able to help other pastors go, hey, here's I think someone said it's a Google grant. Are you aware of this? This is how I'm using it. This is how I'm helping my church with this. It's like that knowledge is another piece of this that we want to like help other churches. You're overwhelmed. Let's help you get your time back. Educate in who's doing what's working. Let's all collectively figure out how to do this better and then help everybody.
Yeah.
So,
That's what you're going to say.
Yeah. I was gonna say that I assure that we have the best VAs here, and aside from the task that you would give them, they would also suggest many things aside from the task that you're gonna be giving those VAs.
Yeah, growing with you. That's
Mhm.
another good point, Jazz, because I think sometimes they go. I think Gary's saying index management. That might be the first thing that you start off with, but like Jazz said, the VAs are able to see what you're doing, suggest different things, and grow with you. And this is what
Yeah.
we're excited about, building this relationship-based business to help you guys get your time back.
Yeah. And I think another part that was appealing to me, Ryan and Stephen, was also that you guys live here in the United States. You're entrepreneurs with your own companies here in the United States, and you're providing a service to me as a pastor in the United States in the church that I don't have to develop from scratch a relationship overseas and train people. I don't have to do that. I like that. That makes it one less step than having to go figure that out. And you've already got that. That was a huge thing for me.
Yeah, that makes a difference. And gives you that confidence. Yeah, we don't have to go an hour here. I just want to make sure people get their questions answered. And I mean, it always really comes down to what types of tasks and how much are they. I think the answer is what can we do? I think pretty much about anything short of I mean the VA is not going to preach a sermon for you. They can call visitors if you need them to. You can tell that Jazz speaks amazing English, and a lot of our VAs. Good night, buddy.
Now that's an interesting thing, Ryan. Are you serious?
Yes. No, totally. I mean, Jazz can tell you the most of the call centers. There's a lot of call centers in the Philippines, and for the reason is their English is awesome, and so that would be very, very possible to have a VA that was making phone calls to visitors if you wanted to.
Well, I do want you. I do want to try that. Then
Okay.
not visitors, but the food ministry thing I was telling you about.
Sure.
I would love to be able to go through that list of 500 sooner than later. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
I like this idea.
Yeah, we could totally. So I guess the guys, it just comes down to let us help you. Let's try. Let's figure it out. We'll let you know. Be honest, like, hey, no, we can't do that. But there's not a lot that I can think of that would be the VA could not do. And if we didn't have the team to do it, we'll find the team that can do it or find the person.
Yeah.
We're connected to a lot of VAs, a lot of VA services, and we'll do our best to hook you up. Gary's asking, what's the process to sign up? Say, give you 500 to start and then discuss tasks to be completed. Actually, if you just want to, probably the easiest way, Gary, email me, ryan@ryanrieger.com. Put the email in the chat. And you could start with $500 if you want to. You don't even have to do that, honestly. We'd literally just get you set up on a per hour basis and bill you every so often. But you could start with 500. That would probably be that would give you a decent amount of tasks. You probably got a lot done for $500. Yeah. So yeah, just email. Or sorry, that's my website. Ryan@ryanrieger.com is my email.
I'm really glad you mentioned the calling thing. I really hadn't even thought that you could call from the Philippines.
Mhm.
Would it look like it's coming from the United States too?
Yeah, you could use a voice over IP, right, Jazz? You could do a number that made it look like it was coming from the US.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, we can do that.
her boyfriend Zach there used to run a call center or manage a call center team, so he could answer all of our questions about that.
Wow.
Um,
Well, I just got a new thing to have you guys do. That's awesome.
yeah, I think our hearts, like Peter, what really blessed me was when you said that this allows me to get behind my desk and do what I'm called to do, and that, like, wow. I mean, almost bring tears in my eyes to think about that. I can help a pastor like get away from everything you do is good and needed, but it's things that you shouldn't be doing, but you just don't have the team around you because you don't have 5,000 people that are tithing to make it possible. You don't have the budget, and most of the churches are probably your size, right? I mean, I think
Yeah,
I don't know
and
what
just
the stats are.
Yeah, just to give clarity, my church is basically between 50 and 100 people. I do have people on staff that can help me, but I have very few that spend time on computers that really know how to use current software, social media stuff. It's not a criticism, it's just a reality.
Sure. Yeah.
But yet I need to deal with it. And I I used to like it personally, but I don't like it as much as I used to like it.
Right.
I'd rather just be out with people and
Yes.
Yeah.
praying and connecting and spending more time in prayer and the word and less behind a computer getting those menial tasks done that need to be done. And the other thing is they're expected to be done. I mean, people in the local church expect professionalism. They expect it to look right and be good and no errors and the website updated and then, I can't tell you how many times that I can only do so much. Would you like to do it? Well, I don't know how to do it.
Hey, Peter, let me ask you this. I'm curious. Are the people that complain the people that don't put money in the offering plate?
Well, we won't go there. That's another webinar.
Oh my goodness. And in business, it's typically the people that don't invest, don't do anything, or the people that complain are the ones that aren't, that get in free or that don't pay very much.
Hey, listen, I hope that you have a few more beta pastors that can take this to other levels that will help me see what they're doing that I wasn't thinking about.
Sure.
I think I hope somehow you guys will keep track of the tasks that are being done.
We can actually, one of our ideas, Peter, was to have a
Community.
Facebook group of pastors, and with no pressure to be involved, but I mean,
Just
who
whenever
knows
you have a
what it could
need.
turn into. Like, it could be like us doing an interview with one of the pastors before the whole group, and somebody, I mean, it could end up being a family of pastors that learn from each other. So I absolutely still would love to do that for those that want to be involved in something like that, where we think what that will do is it'll help us to see where the needs are and give us ideas on other ways to serve pastors. We'll see where pastors are getting stuck. It'll help us come up with new service ideas, new people to bring in. We can help with, Stephen's a master at YouTube. So there's all kinds of stuff that we could do with YouTube and turning your, if you don't have a podcast as a pastor, you should, it's very easy that you're already doing the content. You're already preaching every Sunday. That's very easy to make that a podcast without you doing any other work.
You're talking about taking the sermon and being a listenable podcast.
Turn it into a listenable podcast that goes out across the world on Apple, Spotify, Google, I can tell Alexa to play the Streams of Income podcast, which is my podcast, and it'll start playing. And so that could be the same thing for you. Also then taking those smaller clips, posting them up on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, if you want, Twitter, YouTube Shorts, Reels, I just feel like,
I think there's some other areas that pastors could probably do, like writing a book.
Oh, absolutely.
A lot of pastors are intimidated by that, but if you've got a virtual assistant who can help you do editing, ghostwriting, they pull things from your sermons and make, I don't know, there's a lot of vision to be encompassed here, but once we got to get some menial tasks off our shoulders and our
get your time back
to be able to think.
Yep.
Well, Peter, any other thoughts that if you're a pastor on the other end, you've not done this before, you're kind of just nervous about it or just not sure, any encouragement you'd give them that would cause them to at least give it a shot?
You're asking me that question?
Yeah, just any thoughts, speak to the pastor who's listen to this, I'm not so sure, I don't know what I'd offload or how it all works, or if I could get
I would say, they need to you need to say, give us 30 days to see if we can make a difference in your ministry. I think if you could just maybe put it in if you can do that, that gives a pastor 30 days to figure out, is this really worth my time, my money? Can it work or not?
Yes.
Yes. That's an idea.
That's good. Stephen, just brainstorming out loud here too, is, I've found that people need their handheld a little bit on figuring out how to outsource stuff. Because Peter, like you said, you've been doing some of these things for so long that you don't know what's outsourceable, or maybe you think it's not worth the time and effort to do. I only do this thing twice a week and it only takes me 3 minutes each time to do. So I'm just going to keep doing this. Well, it may take you an hour to explain the task, to put together a video or a standard operating procedure, but how it's going to be very quickly that your time is going to get, that investment of 1 hour is going to pay off
Right.
fairly quickly after you don't have to do it again. So I think that Facebook group could be a place where we help pastors, think through, okay, great, I'm here. What should I start outsourcing? Maybe I guess some training on the pastor side of, what could be outsourced, how to do that. But it doesn't have to be all at once. Like Peter, you're starting to do things a little bit at a time, and you're
Yeah,
learning.
I
So
just
it
don't
doesn't
want
have to be a big dump.
Right. Yeah. I had to get my feet wet gradually.
Yeah.
And the trust factor of a new relationship with somebody overseas
Yes.
took a little time to figure it out. Am I being, am I being too demanding? Just trying to figure it all out. It's just, it takes a little bit of time. And Jazz, I mean, I'm the first and only one so far pastor wise, so I don't know how that will measure up in the future, but it's been really fun working with you, and I appreciate the fact that you said I was still there for you, even though she rolled me off. She rolled me off to somebody else. She said, this other VA I think can help you do more than I can do, and I was like, really? And she was right. I mean,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Red really is taking it to a new level that maybe
Yeah.
Jazz could have, but she wasn't. But it was good. It was good.
That's awesome.
Because
I do
Jazz
want to
is so
touch on
busy,
that.
yeah.
That trust, because I think this is another thing that maybe pastors of smaller churches, and you're doing all this stuff, it might be hard to let go and delegate. I don't know if that's true or not, but what part of this process, I think you touched on this too. You knew Ryan for 5 years, so maybe this is a wrong way of asking it, but as a pastor, what uncomfort level, I guess, would get you to reach out and trust someone like us, or a possible even trusting a VA, period? Or I guess for you, what was the thing that caused you to step out and ask for help in this new way?
I trusted Ryan's testimony. I mean, I've seen him, I've heard him. His profession of his faith made me feel assured and then you stepped in on a guest podcast, and it was just another podcast, but you were new and it was and it hit a chord. I mean, that's the best I can say. And at this point, somebody that sees a pastor, whether they know me or not, and hears me tonight, later, whatever, they either believe that I'm the real deal, having a good experience, or they don't, and vice versa with you guys, so got to just step out and trust, or it's not for you, I guess,
Yeah.
I was asking that more, I guess, selfishly, because we've been trying to help a lot of pastors, and we've helped a lot of business people, but it was some about pastors where it's like, I know pastors are overwhelmed. I know we can help them, but I don't know why we can't even jump on calls with them, because they're so overwhelmed they can't even, because we've set up a lot of calls with pastors and just like, oh, I'm not going to make it because of, or I'm too overwhelmed. Just like this, it's so funny that we have a heart to help you to get your time back. You don't even have a tough time to like jump on a call with us. It's very interesting. And I didn't know if it was a trust issue. And just hearing you say that it might be, I'm not sure.
I think we're still, I mean, honestly, I mean, maybe there's other people doing this already that we don't even know of. I have no idea. But if this is somewhat innovative and new for pastors to consider having VAs help them with Christianity ministry applications, it's different than just like my brother was an attorney for 30 years, and 10 years or more ago, he had a virtual assistant from India doing his paralegal work. Well, he eventually went to India to meet his paralegals because he was so happy with what they were doing. And, so the VA concept is not new.
Right.
But I think it is somewhat new in a pastoral application because our world evolved into such a technical world that the church was not up to date with what needed and is expected culturally on levels of church, on churches that are maybe 500 or less or 100 or less. They just can't keep up with it. And
do you think COVID had something to do with that too? It like forced you into doing more tech?
Oh yeah. I mean, for sure, COVID threw us in a new world. I mean, no question about it. I mean, I've been doing technology stuff longer than the COVID thing. But as a whole, for churches in general, yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, because we go to a very large church, and I mean, we were doing Facebook Lives and YouTube and all kinds of stuff, but I think when so much of it went off campus, they really had to ramp up the tech stuff, and it caused a lot of problems, even in a very large church, where it was just like they were unprepared for the level of online things they had to do. Because even the tithing and stuff, like we had an app that was kind of working, but then as soon as it was like, oh, the only way the church is going to be able to accept money is through this app, and we didn't really set it up. Like, they completely changed a lot of the software they were using and everything. It was just very interesting to see a large church have to evolve that quickly.
Yeah. And I think there's going to be things that, I mean, if the Lord will bless what we're trying to do here and helping other pastors besides me, I really think there's going to be a lot of new birthing concepts that will inspire other pastors that I don't even see right now. You know, I'm encouraged. This is very encouraging for me. It really is. And I hope this will last a long time and get better, and it'll help grow the kingdom. Honestly, I mean, I'm encouraged.
Stephen, one thing that's not brought up yet, but Gary brought it up in the chat, is about access to things, trusting the VAs with access. And that's a great point, Gary. Thanks for bringing it up. A couple options for those that are watching this, the recording, is a lot of software gives you the ability to create user permissions so that you can hide your credit card information, and the VA only has access to certain parts of that software. The other option is a software called LastPass that allows you to create a login for your VA, but it's all like a login specifically to them, where it does like your password was 6 letters long, it would be just 6 dots. It automatically fills it into that website. Like, let's say your bank account. I mean, most pastors aren't given access to their bank account. Although my pastor does have a VA for accounting and bookkeeping, and they have all that access. But they use LastPass so that the VA goes to that site and automatically populates the username and password for them without the VA actually having that actual information.
You know, I don't want to bust your bubble on that, but I'm just going to say, no matter what system's out there, you know, we live in a day where we're hearing all the time about different companies that have data breaches.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So ultimately, we just got to trust.
Yeah. That's right.
You know, I just got to trust. That's but right. I'm excited about, you know, LastPass. Those are awesome systems, but my concern is getting locked out of my own system because I forget.
That's where you call Jazz. Say, hey, what's my password?
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
Peter,
guys, I hope this is encouraging for others, you know. Hey, as we wrap up, do you mind if I just pray for your business?
No, please do. That'd be great. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Lord, I just thank you for these guys. I thank you for Jazz over in the Philippines. I just thank you for what you've done in my life through this connection through technology that started off with a podcast and developed into a really cool thing for me, this local church, and the benefits that are forthcoming. I just pray for any other pastors out there that they'd be willing to follow the promptings that you put on their heart. Maybe it's us, maybe it's not, but I just pray you'd help them and encourage them to do less of the tasks that they shouldn't be doing so they can do more of the tasks that you're calling them to do. So Lord, guide Stephen and Ryan as they try to help pastors not being pastors themselves. I just pray that as Christian men of God, that they would just help pastors do this service in such a way that it really glorifies you. I just pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Amen.
All right, guys.
Jazz, thanks for jumping on with us. Appreciate it.
We'll see you in the morning.
All right. See you. Yep. We'll do it again.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.